Enlightenment and Alienation, William Blake's Obscurity in His Time by Sheila Bautz. During his lifetime, poetic genius William Blake failed to receive the level of agency and recognition his brilliant work demands. Like his creative works, Blake's mortality has an enigmatic quality that is fueled by his immortal perceptions regarding imagination, spirituality, the innocence and wisdom of experience, the human existence, and humanity's scientific advancements. His contributions to both the arts and, ironically, science isolated and labeled him as either a madman or a poetic genius in a society increasingly embracing scientific reasoning as a testimony to human advancement in 18th century Britain. Near the end of the 18th century, the Romantic era catapulted an artistic, literary, musical, and intellectual movement exposing distinct class lines, class divisions, and social stratifications. As such, Blake addressed the issue of human rights, social unity, and the elimination of class divisions by expressing his spiritual ideals. He stated, "Man must not be deceived by the testimony of the senses, but must keep in mind and in touch with spirit. He must learn to see not with, but through the eye. And above all, spiritual energy, the God in man, must be free to express itself in love and creative activity. In the end, it will bring about a reunion of what reason has divided, and men will live as one man, united in brotherhood." In the academic work entitled Religious Trends in English Poetry, Blake is said to have been an anti-intellectual wishing to expose the chaos which underlies the 18th century's neatly associated ideas. There is ample proof that, for Blake, political, religious, and aesthetic rebellion are one. To an extent almost unique in his generation, he distrusted the Industrial Revolution as a course not only of social injustice, but of the mechanization of the human spirit. Blake, a critic of the Industrial Revolution and its technology, insisted that a machine is not a man nor a work of art. It is destructive of humanity and art because it created economic injustice, uncreative labor, enslavement by the machine, and bad art that are all one hateful thing. According to Blake, his mundane but much needed employment of printing the works of other creative minds during the Industrial Revolution squashed his creative juices. Although the following letter written by Blake is subject to interpretation, it can indeed be applied to his strong feelings regarding the Industrial Revolution in this instance as well. "I have entirely reduced that spectrous fiend to his station, whose annoyance has been the ruin of my labors for the past 20 years of my life. Thank God I was not altogether a beast as he was, but I was a slave bound in a mill among beasts and devils. Suddenly, on the day after visiting the gallery of pictures, I was again enlightened with the light I enjoyed in my youth, and which has for exactly 20 years been closed from me as by a door." Yet, Blake's goal, in part, was to heighten awareness and possibly encourage balance between creative endeavors and technology. As demonstrated by his concept, imagination is the only ultimate reality, a universal spiritual energy from which the forms of all things are derived. Blake believed everything in the world was misinterpreted as literal and concrete realities in the human experience instead of as symbols. He felt that science accepts mere symbols as real and rejects the truths which they symbolize, and that political tyranny and industrial mechanization crush the free spirit of man. As such, Blake believed the ideal in life was to honor freedom of imaginative energy in art, religion, politics, sex, and all other aspects of conduct. When deeply examining Blake's spiritual and worldly views that grant us insight into his creative power, Blake's printing invention that manifested a year after his brother Robert's death needs to be examined as well. Blake claimed that Robert had come to him in a vision and instructed him in a method of printing of his works without the expense of letterpress. Initially, this printing invention successfully merged what Blake calls poetic genius with technology. The vision resulted in the invention of better technology, which in turn aided in printing creative works. Consequently, Blake's alienation from society stems from his spiritual roots, as he naively shared their beauty with the public in hopes of spreading the seeds of his spiritual insights. As a result, he inhibited his ability to find agency. Blake continued then to withdraw from society and deeply delved into his mystical endeavors, which demands solitude. Near the end of Blake's life, he lived almost unknown to the world, with the exception of a group known as the Ancients. Yet, he also perplexed others who pondered whether he was a hopeless madman or an inscrutable genius. However, Blake is viewed as a loving and lovable old man, fresh-minded and energetic, unconscious of poverty, perfectly true to himself, industrious and temperate. Treating all as his equals, he only mocked those he viewed as willfully stupid, and died content in his work. Blake no longer struggles to find agency, he now has it.